Welcome. Hello, everyone. I feel like I need to make like extra hand motions today because I did my own nails and I'm so happy with them. So I think nail salons are open in New York City now. I don't know. They might be. I haven't visited yet. But I'm kind of like scared to go to nail salons right now. And so I've been doing like my own acrylic and like I just did them today. So yeah, I'm just going to be like randomly, unnecessarily motioning when I don't. But today we have a really special guest who's going to be joining us. Her name's Shanna Moakler. She was Miss USA 1995, and here she is. Hello,
guys.
How are you?
How are you? I'm so excited to be here with you.
Me too. I'm like thrilled. This is going to be so much fun.
Yes,
I was reading over some info about you, and I have so many questions. We're going to get
okay.
Okay, so for those who are just tuning in from the Miss USA account, right now we're talking to Shanna Moakler. She's Miss USA 1995. She succeeded Chelsea Smith when Chelsea won Miss Universe.
Yes.
And you finished the rest of the Miss USA reign. So was that when you guys were in LA?
Yeah, we were actually still owned by Madison Square Garden back then. Okay. They were actually based in New York, but the Miss USA and the Miss Universe lived in the Wilshire corridor over here in Los Angeles. So I lived in one apartment and Chelsea lived above me. And yeah, it was based in Los Angeles back then. And then the following year in 1996, Donald Trump purchased it and moved you guys all back to New York City.
Oh, wow. Wait, so, okay. But that was when you were done though.
Yeah, I was the last, Chelsea and I were the last two queens to live in LA. And then I crowned Allie Landry, and then she never moved to New York. Yeah.
In New York? Oh my gosh. So what was it like? Do you like being in New York? Like if you had to move to New York, or excuse me, living in LA, do you think if you had to move to New York, you would have liked it as much as LA?
Well, I was Miss New York USA, so I was living in New York and modeling and working and having so much fun. But I really wanted to be an actress. So for me, when I took over the title of Miss USA, it was like perfect fit because I got to go to LA and meet with agencies and start auditioning and doing all that good stuff. It really was a huge stepping stone in my career. So that's why I'm a product of the system. So I'm really, really proud of it.
Yeah. Well, and I agree. I think it's like so true. Like if you really want to pursue acting, like being in LA is a great spot.
Absolutely.
Like, it is cool, like being Miss USA in New York, but it's also like,
LA's very glamorous, Hollywood. But I love both coasts, for different reasons. So
yeah, that's awesome. So wait, what was it like? I mean, how long was your reign after Chelsea won?
It was about 8 months. Yeah,
okay.
It was about 8 months because she went to Miss USA probably like a month or two right after Miss USA. And I was in New York in my apartment in New York watching Miss Universe on TV, just, eating popcorn. And I'm like,
and then you won.
I think she's going to win. Yeah, I was like, she's winning. Back then they used to put the scores on, so I was like, she's winning. I think she's going to win. And then, she won. And then my phone just started ringing. And people were like, you're the new Miss USA.
How did that feel?
It was just so surreal, like out of a movie. And then it was like, oh, my God, I'm moving to LA. It was just like, because I thought, when she won Miss USA, I went to Miss Teen USA. I had so much fun at Miss Teen USA. It's why I decided to do Miss USA. And so I just thought my pageant career was over, So it was like, oh my gosh, I get to move to LA and travel to country, and it was cool.
So cool. What were some of your favorite moments while you served?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm really proud that one of the charities that I brought to the Miss USA organization was the Special Olympics. I had been a coach and a volunteer for over 10 years. I was a roller skater, so I used to teach all the athletes how to roller skate and do classes every week. It was really cool. And so one of the things I got to do was I got to go to the World Games in Connecticut. And it was really cool. And I got to hand out all the medals and award all the athletes and just not just see them roller skating, but in all the different sports. And I'll never forget, like, I saw this one athlete deadlift, like weightlift, like 600 pounds.
Oh
and
my gosh.
he lifted it up and he put it over his head and the stadium was like raging. And it was just one of the most like life-changing moments for me. And I, without the title, I would never have got to experience that.
Yeah, well, and it's so cool that like that was something that you did before you were Miss USA, and then as you were like, look, we can start doing this. I would love to, continue my service.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Really cool.
What would you say were some of like your least favorite events? So you were like, I could sleep a little later today.
Oh my God. I could totally answer this. So I made the mistake of telling the organization that I can golf. I'm a golfer. Okay. So I actually grew up golfing my whole life. So they put me in every celebrity golf tournament in the world. And I had to get up at like 4:00 in the morning to be there at like 5 to tee off at 6 to play 18 holes of golf, like every week, like sometimes 2 and 3 golf tournaments a week. And I was like, guys, I don't think I can do these golf tournaments anymore. That was like, I was like, why did I tell them that I golf?
When you get such a bad tan when you're out there, because you have to wear like socks and shoes and shorts and like a shirt that has crack sleeves or whatever, like that would not be fun.
You do. It's the worst. So I could have held back on some of my golf tournaments. Yeah.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine, especially for me. I'm a terrible, terrible golfer. Last time I went golfing, I was with it was like my dad and 2 of my little brothers. And I remember we're out there on the course. You have a course, right? We're out there on the course. Yeah. And I'm trying to swing and hit the ball, and I kept missing, and they thought I was joking. They were like, Cheslie, hit the ball. And I was like, I can't. I am not that coordinated. I cannot hit the ball. It was so bad. And so I've been forever scarred, and I can't play golf anymore. I don't even want to.
You're good.
Do you ever go back and like watch when you competed or watch your final walk or anything?
Sometimes I do. Our pageant fans are so awesome, and they're constantly making like collages and just really fun stuff. Someone actually made me one of when I was at Miss Teen USA and when I was at Miss USA, and they kind of put them together. So, as the introduction and the swimsuit and then the evening gown. And it's just so nostalgic and really fun. I competed many moons ago, so that VHS tape is kind of grainy.
Right. Well, I was searching in the apartment the other day. I can't remember what me and Zosie were looking for. But I started opening some of the drawers that's in the little shelf thing underneath our TV in the living room. Yeah. And I pulled out some old VHS tapes of Miss USA competitions. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
That's awesome.
But the VHS and everything.
You can't even buy the machines anymore.
No. I wouldn't know where to get them. Well, the machines, and I remember my friends who were really bougie had the little rewinder where you wouldn't have to press it down. Rewind. It wasn't that long ago.
You had to rewind it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you did what, Teen USA in 1992 and then 1992. Gotcha. Correct. You're so close together. Do you still see that nowadays with women competing in teen and then just a few short years later going and competing?
I do. I haven't had it in my states. I'm the for some people out there who don't know, I'm the executive director for the Miss Nevada USA pageant and the Miss Utah USA pageant. I haven't had any teens really come back yet. I'm waiting for them, please come back, but I do see it in a lot of other states for sure.
And you've had Nevada since 2012?
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. Yeah.
And you've been incredibly successful. We had Tiana top 5 this year, Carolina runner up, Brittany McGowan, Nia Sanchez. What do you think?
Campanella is my Miss USA from California.
Yeah, when you were California. Yeah. So what goes into the preparation? Why do you think that the women who compete in your systems end up being so successful at USA?
For me, I think a big part of once a girl wins, I really sit down with her and I really try to figure out what her personal goals are. What does she want to do in her community? What are some of the issues that personally affect her, whether it's affecting her self-esteem or her self-confidence? So I really sit down with them and we kind of make a plan and we work on those goals, whether it's, like I said, whether it's, they want to go, Carolina wanted to really go out in the community and work with homelessness. That was a huge thing for her because it affected her so deeply. So, we got her out into the community doing that. And it just builds, the self-confidence. It just I want to make these girls the best versions of themselves. You know, I don't want to change them. A lot of the times we change your look sometimes, and, you know, we'll try different things. But it's not about changing who they are as a young woman. You know, it's just making them that better version of themselves.
Exactly.
And, you know, and I also want to have a friendship and a common respect for one another. I think that's, you know, a big part of when you're on a team with someone is, you know, I'm not your boss. I'm not your mom. I'm not trying to tell you what you can and can't do. I want to make your experience fun and one that's rewarding. And when you look back on it, you can say, you know what, that really helped me become a better young woman. And that's my goal.
Mm-hmm. Well, and do you think that part of it is not only, you know, your directorship, but also you being able to pick great judges who can see that potential in women?
Absolutely. I think it's really important when directors are sort of briefing their judges, you know, to kind of, you know, when you're telling them what to look for, because everyone has a different, you know, in their mind that what does beauty mean to them? You know,
Mm-hmm.
is it physical? Is it what someone's energy and how they communicate and talk? Is it their personality? Everyone defines beauty so differently. So when I brief my judges, I always tell them, and I got this from the great Paula Sugar, our awesome president, you know, she's like, we're looking for a young woman that is authentically herself, you know, and I think that speaks volumes, and that's what I tell my judges to look for.
How do you see that? I mean, if you had to define authenticity, or you had to like say, that's what it is, what, like, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as a young woman who's just really confident in her own skin and confident in getting her message across. Someone that is comfortable talking to new people, you know, learning about new people, because a lot of your job, as you know, you're going to events, you're going to meet politicians, you're opening up charity events, you're speaking on the fly. So, you know, for me, it's someone who's really just kind of has that, not so much it factor, but really is able to just speak honestly and openly about who they are as a young woman and what their message is and what they're trying to share with the world.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. And I think that's a perfect description too. And it seriously is so hard to describe. I think that was one of my questions that I thought I actually bombed when I was in Miss USA. I think one of the judges asked me like, oh, why is authenticity important, or what is it, or something along those lines. And I was like, oh,
yeah, because people relate to that. That's what I tell girls too. I'm like, you know, judges know when you're trying to make up an answer or tell them something that you know, you think they want to hear. Judges know, you know, that's like fake, you know? So when you're just really speaking from your heart, judges relate to that, you know, they're like, oh yeah, you know, and they have something in common with you. And I think that separates, you know, the women from the girls, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree. And I think I didn't realize that until I've judged a few times. So the first time that I judged a USA competition was last year. We judged Louisiana USA. And I remember sitting there as a judge on the other side and realizing how many contestants gave the same answers. Like, because I asked, like, I think there was one question I asked every single contestant just to give,
it's
like,
so different when you're on the other side, too.
It is. It's wildly different. And it made me think differently about my interview, because I was like, dang, is everybody saying this? Or I thought, oh my gosh, like that actually did sound really candid. It didn't sound as authentic as this person who like flubbed a little bit, but I could just see like a real person there. So
yeah,
it was eye-opening.
Yeah, it's great. It's cool. And then you're like, wow, all the things that I was worried about, all the things that I thought that they wanted to hear, they're not even interested in, you know? So it's fun.
I remember there was when I was still competing, before I became Miss USA, I was competing, and I remember there was a judge who was telling me about some achievement he had, and he was going on and on about this achievement, and I was like, is this a test? Am I supposed to just like, because we only have 3 minutes in the interview. I was like, am I just supposed to sit here and listen, or do I interject things? And I was like, maybe he just wants me to listen. And so I just sat there listening for like almost the entire interview. And I was like, maybe I should just not say anything.
Right. Yeah. It gets confusing.
It is. How often do you judge?
You know, I just judged Miss Hawaii in this past November, and I have to say it was magical getting to go to Hawaii, and they throw an absolutely beautiful, beautiful state pageant. So I don't get to judge too often anymore. I think maybe the other directors are afraid of me judging or something.
Because it's so hard. I mean, you really do. I think, you know, if I was running a pageant, I think it would be hard to bring in, you know, another executive director, knowing like you're going to see behind the scenes. Like I almost wanted like I remember when I interviewed Oprah, like I almost didn't want to, because I was like, should I ask her for feedback after? She's going to know if I suck. Like, I'm not sure about this. So that certainly would be a little daunting. But you know, as a judge, what are some of the things?
I love judging though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah. As a judge, what would you say are some of the, like, you know, this happened, I saw this and it was great, I wish more contestants did this, and some things that you're like, please stop doing this. Like, I wish you knew not to do this when you competed.
I just love when girls come out on stage and they're just having fun. You know, they're not like worried about their walking patterns or what they're doing. They're just out there having fun, because it makes it fun for me as a judge. So I wish more girls just sort of like relax the minute they like kind of walk out on that stage. They just sort of like let it go and just really enjoy that time on stage. Because you guys have like, what, 30 seconds? Like you said, even in the interview room, you know, you have 3 minutes, you know? And I think that's one of the biggest things I always tell girls too when they're in the interview room. The last thing I want is a girl to leave the interview room and I just don't really even have a sense of who she is or what she liked or anything like that, you know? So I wish more girls really took that 3 minutes. And I know, like how you were just saying, like, do I just listen to this judge or do I like intervene? But I like a girl to like take a little bit more control of the interview and go, you know, I really wanted to share this with you. This is something I'm super passionate about. And so I wish more girls sort of like took control of their interview and really shared what it is they're about. So I have a real understanding of who they are. Yeah. That's
incredible feedback. Now, you know, obviously, where there's a global pandemic going on, I think that's shifted a lot of the things that we've had to deal with in pageantry. How have you and your title holders dealt with what's going on now?
You know, we're still kind of up in the air with everything. You know, I know the national pageant dates have been pushed back, which is good for me. I don't mind that at all, because it gives me more time to sort of like work with them. And since we've all been quarantined, you know, normally I'm, you know, working on walking and we're doing media training and interview skills and all that kind of stuff. And we really haven't had the opportunity to do that. So I'm kind of glad it's got pushed back a little bit, so that way I can work with the girls more one-on-one.
Yeah, because now it's been like over a year since last year. I won like in early May, and like,
yes, that's right. And you get to have a nice long rain now, so that's cool.
Yeah, just like raining from the apartment. It's really cool.
Totally.
Yeah, but I think, you know, there have been so many people to, you know, try to give back and try to still contribute while we're all still locked down. We just talked with Tara Connor on Tuesday.
Yes,
you know,
I
has been
love
like masks, and you know, I love hearing about the community, the pageant industry itself, trying to give back.
Yeah, I bought her masks. I loved her.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Gotta support our other Miss USA sisters. So.
Exactly.
You know.
What would you say about like the sisterhood and how strong it is in the Miss Universe organization?
I just, you know, I think it's wonderful. You know, we do have that private Facebook group too, where there's Miss USAs and Miss Universes. And you know, it's something I'm really proud of. And when people ask me about pageantry in general, I tell them, you know, it's not just about that one night that you see on TV. You know, that's the big show. That's the big pageant. That's where we get our new title holder. But as you know, there's just so much more that goes into it, you know, reigning your whole year. And I mean, I've been to baby showers and weddings of all the former Miss USAs, and, you know, watching them all kind of change through their lives and grow and be a part of that. And especially here in LA, there's a big group of Miss USAs that are constantly together.
So
you know.
many. And the more I talk to, I was gonna say, the more I talk to, because I feel like there are some who I've talked to more than others. But the more I get to like chat with more and more, I'm like, oh my God, so many of us live in LA now. It's like this.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
And we used to have like big dinners and stuff. So hopefully we can get back to doing that stuff again, because it was really fun.
We need to do like a reunion at USA.
Absolutely. Yes.
Have like a dinner or something. It'd be really
cute. That'd be so fun.
Exactly.
I love it.
So, you know, since you crowned Miss USA 1996, you've done a ton of things. Like, you've been on TV series, you've been in movies, you've done reality TV shows. How much of that do you think was aided by your experiences in pageants before you became this Hollywood celebrity?
You know, the thing that I always tell people about pageants, and one of the reasons why I chose to be a director, is because, you know, it really is a great stepping stone, and it really does help build so many personal skills, you know, job interview training skills, media training, just working on self-confidence and poise, and you know, if you are more of a shy person, getting out and meeting new people and networking and all that good stuff. And I really, that's what I love about pageantry. That's what I try to share with other moms and other young women. Like, it's not just about the crown. It's not about just that one night, that one pageant. There's so many other beautiful gifts that you can get, and you can walk away and take away from the experience. So, you know, that was huge for me. When I moved to Los Angeles, you know, pageantry gave me the opportunity to move to Los Angeles and to network and to meet these big agencies. You know, if I wasn't Miss USA, I wouldn't have signed with William Morris and got my first big agent and start going on movie auditions and going to movie premieres and meeting people and producers and directors. So for me, I look at this system as a huge stepping stone that really helped elevate me to where my goals were and where I wanted to go.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's something that, like, you know, we're constantly trying to impart on people who haven't competed yet, or, you know, in media interviews with people are like, why are you competing? It's like, well, do you see the opportunities that you get from competing and from winning either at the state level or the national or international level? Yep,
true. So cool. Yeah.
And guys, I'm seeing a few questions. I think I missed a few questions that you guys put in the comments. If you have specific questions, try dropping them in the question box, just the little box with the question mark at the bottom. I'll make sure not to miss them if you drop them there, but sometimes I miss them in the comments. But so let's talk about some of the shows that you did. I mean, you did a ton before you did, you know, a bunch of reality TV shows.
Yeah.
Dancing with the Stars, which is so cool.
Oh my God, Jerry Springer beat me. Are you kidding? I got beat by Jerry Springer. But he's actually the coolest guy in the whole world, and I love him more than anything in life. But yeah, I was Pacific Blue was like my first big series regular role on the USA Network. But I've been on, and then I was in a movie called Love Stinks, and then I was in The Wedding Singer. A lot of people don't realize that I was the stewardess on the plane. Who was like, there's this creeping coach who thinks he's Don Johnson. He just asked me to join the Mile High Club. But, you know, that was my first role in a movie, The Wedding Singer, and I was so nervous. I was the last one up. It was like 11 o'clock at night. Everyone wanted to go home, and it took me like 11 takes to say that one line. And I went home and I totally cried. Like, I was like, I'm so embarrassed. Like,
oh my God, especially being like the newbie on set, and then now like you want to be perfect. You want to do
I wanted to like, Drew Barrymore was on set, you know, all these like big stars. It was at Universal Studios. I was like, I made it. And like, couldn't get like, I can say that one line now 1,000 times, backwards, forwards, but that night I couldn't say it at all. I went home and bawled my face off. I was so upset.
Oh my gosh. Well, and tell me about Pacific Blue, because were you constantly having to be on a bike?
I was constantly on a bike.
Okay, tell me about your biking experience. Were you clumsy?
I was so bad, and they made us take like a course with like real police officers. And the crazy thing about that show is we filmed in Venice Beach, and you know, we dressed like cops. Like we had real cop outfits, and we wore like real like cop belts. And so, you know, we would just be hanging out, getting ready to film. And people would come up to us thinking we were cops, like, who put this ticket on my car? Like yelling at us. And I'd be like, I'm an actress. I can't help you. Like, leave me alone. I'd like run away.
Did you get to keep any of like the uniforms or anything?
Yeah.
Do you have like a room where you like store everything?
Yeah, I have like a whole like little, I even have my Miss USA swimsuit and all that stuff from back in the day. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say I just watched I think it was like yesterday or something. I just watched your final walk in your like red ball gown. Do you still have your gown?
I still have my gown, and I could never fit in that thing, but I was a very tiny. But I still have my ball gown. I still have my swimsuit. Everything. Yeah, it was really fun.
So cool.
I found my heels.
You get your heels too?
Yeah, our little heels. They were really cute. They embroidered our titles and our names in them. It was really sweet.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
were they the large like platform heels, or were they like little strappy shoes?
No, they were like little 1980 looking like 2.5 inch heels, like just nude. So you guys are so lucky. You have such cool Nice,
Such
fun
cool
stuff.
giant 4 and 5 inch heels that we like wear everywhere somehow. Don't break
We
our
did
ankles.
not have cool shoes.
Well, and one of the things, I mean, there's been so many changes in pageantry over the years. Like the shoes have changed, the swimsuits have changed, style of questions
The
has
sets
changed.
yeah.
Yeah, like what are some of the changes that you've seen over the years that you've really liked?
Well, I think these new LED like screens, these sets that they have, these American Idol type like sets are just so cool and so modern and glamorous, and they can make waterfalls and I mean that's just epic. One of the things I do miss is a little bit more of like a choreography, like a more of like a pageant-y sort of like dance in the beginning. Not like cheesy, but just something like a little bit more of like a show to open it up. I think that's like I kind of miss that because that's sort of like, but that's the old school 90s pageant girl.
I know, it's so cute. Well, and it's so funny. Like I remember going and they were starting to teach us the dances and everything. And it was Triana. It was Triana from Oklahoma who was in like every single dance. She was amazing. And I was like, I don't remember all those steps. I couldn't. I'm just trying to.
You're like, I'm just gonna go in the back now, like on the stairs over here.
Yeah, because it was like they're trying to put the choreographers. I think we're trying to bring forward the people who could dance or were comfortable with it. And like Triana was like the one. I was like, yes, girl.
That's awesome. That's so funny.
Yeah, work it. But then you mentioned like that you guys used to have like the scores on the screen too. Do you miss that, or do you think it's great how it is?
I don't care either way about the scores. It's, for me, it was like, what am I tallying? Like 9.4, 9.6, 9. Like, who's tallying this up, So, I don't really care, So, yeah, that doesn't bother me either way. But I love, like, the musical acts now. They're just, like, really fun and, more modern and younger and cool. Yeah. I had Barry Manilow at my Miss USA, so.
Did you? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is really, really cool. Yeah, and to your point about the sets, I mean, like at Miss Universe, it was amazing, like with the tree and everything.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. Okay, there have been a bunch of people to add questions in here. Oh wow, that's an interesting question. Well, we already answered this question, but I'm gonna take it just so you guys know. So the Miss USA title holder apartment in California, you said you were the last one in LA, and so the next year it was in New York.
Correct.
Really, really cool. And then there's another question here. AG Dancer 13 says crown or sash. Which one did you prefer wearing when you were doing appearances?
I love both. You only get to wear that crown for 1 year, so it never bothered me. I know Cheslie, she had the real big Miss Universe on, and her poor head I think would be like bleeding. So she would definitely say sash, but I loved wearing the crown. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, well, because didn't that crown have like the woman in it? Like there was like
it had like a big circle. Like it was big. That thing was heavy.
Did you keep your crowns? Did you guys get to keep your crowns when you were reigning?
Yeah, we get to keep our crown. Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, this is a question from King of Texas. Says, do you guys feel that Miss USA selection is currently based on what is politically needed, or do you feel it's 100% fair? What do you think, Shannon?
I think it's 100% fair. I don't think anyone can really kind of foresee politically where we're going at this point in time, like right now. I don't think anyone would have foreseen what's happening in 2020 right now between pandemics and protests and everything that's going on in the world. I don't think the judges were able to foresee this coming. So I don't think it's politically driven. I definitely think it's I think it's fair, and I stand by that like 100%, I knew you were gonna win. I think you did like a photo shoot with Jonathan Carter, and you were with one of your sister title holders, and I saw that picture and I was like, she's winning. I was like, she's winning. And I did this with Deshauna Barber too. When she did the Miss USA Snapchat like takeover or Instagram takeover, I forgot which one it was. And I literally called up her director, Carla, and I went, you have a Miss USA. I was like, and we laugh about it. Like, I was like, I told you after she won, I was like, I told you she was going to win. She was like, you were right. And I was,
you start betting in the lottery, Shane. Oh my God.
I know.
Skills.
I know, right? I'm a pretty good pageant predictor. So.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh my gosh, we have a ton of questions in here. Jeez. Okay, I'm gonna take this one. Misha says, Shane, how's your recovery been?
Oh God, you know what? I actually have my results right here.
Yay!
I tested positive for COVID 2 weeks ago. Today's actually day 15, and then I went yesterday on day 14 to go get retested so that I could go back out into the world, and I got a negative. So
Yay! Celebration! I wish I had confetti.
Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm going to go get tested today, actually, to see if I have the antibodies. Mm-hmm. So I just sit in my car and they come out and they test you right there in your car. But yesterday I went and got my nails and my toes done because I was celebrating my negative test. But recovery's been amazing now. I was sick, I think, till like day 9. Day 9 is when I finally kind of had like some relief from it. But before then it was pretty gnarly.
Oh, really? I mean, just like sick, couldn't get out of bed, felt terrible.
Yeah, it was like a bad flu, you know, like I first started getting like sweats and I remember waking up to the point where like I was drenched and I had to put like a towel on my bed because it was like I was soaking and I was like, what's happening? Like, what is going on? I had no clue. And then I started getting the chills and then I got a low-grade fever. I started getting dizzy, all like your kind of typical flu symptoms. I had a low-grade fever of like 99 to 100. I would take some Tylenol, it would go away. But that's when I went and I got tested. I went to my local urgent care and I got tested. And I also went to my primary and they did like blood and saliva and all that kind of stuff. And by then they called me and said that I was positive. So it was scary. It's scary when you hear that.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I'm seeing Nia Sanchez's messages. Love you, girl.
Love you, Nia.
So, I mean, when you were getting tested, was it scary going there? Was it just scary hearing your test results, or was the whole, ordeal?
I was just so sick. I just wanted to know what was wrong with me, and just having to kind of stand in line and fill out the paperwork, and then go sit in my car until they came over to test me. And then when I was home and they called me, my doctor was kind of like, you have it, like he's like, I don't really even need a test to tell you that you have it. He was like, you're oh, I love you, Nia, thank you. You're awesome. But so I when I found out, I think for me, and for everybody out there who's concerned about COVID, we just don't, we're watching all this stuff on the media and you're seeing these statistics and you're seeing fatalities. And so, you think like, oh my God, if I get it, it's a death sentence or something. You just don't know how your body's going to react. That was the scariest part was, okay, I'm not feeling well. Tomorrow, am I going to have to go to the hospital? Is that what's going to, what symptom is going to make me have to go to the hospital? So that was, and my doctor said to me, he goes, Shayna, if it wasn't a COVID year, and he goes, and you just felt like this, he goes, would you be scared? And I was like, no. And he's like, no, because you've had the flu before. You've been sick like this before. He's like, but because of the media, he's like, you have all these imaginary monsters in your head. He's like, you're young, you're healthy, you don't have any underlying health conditions. He's like, you're going to be okay. But it was still just very scary. And you have to quarantine alone. So that's another thing.
Did you have to leave your children and everything? You couldn't see them while you were sick? Oh. I couldn't imagine that, especially as a mom, not being able to like hug your kids for like.
Yeah, they were calling me and FaceTiming with me, and I was just like crying. I was like, I miss you.
So sorry. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah,
well, and you're right. Like, I would be scared if I tested positive for COVID, especially after hearing. I think it was like Chris Cuomo's experience when he tested positive, and he was saying like he had the chills so badly, like he chipped a tooth, and he felt terrible, all while he's still doing the news. I was like, how are you? I couldn't imagine.
I would leave my bed just to go downstairs to get water, and I was so dizzy and I was so afraid of falling down the stairs. Like I was like, if I fall down these stairs, who's going to find me? So it was just, it was really scary, but, I'm actually really, I'm very happy and blessed, that I got through it and I feel good. And I want to show other people that it's not a death sentence, that you're going to feel horrible for about 7 to 9 days, but you can get through this. It just affects everybody so differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're sharing your experience because, like you said, I mean, everybody does, handle it differently. And I'm glad that, you can share with people, look, like I made it through. It's possible. We, practiced. You said you were like sort of self-quarantining while you had it, and you made it
Yeah.
through. You and your family, survived it. And so I
Yeah,
think that's important for
absolutely.
people to hear. Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got some more questions in
Okay.
here. This one comes from Kryst Briachel. Hope I said that right. Do you think it's possible to build confidence, or does it just come naturally?
Oh, no, I think you can completely build confidence,
Yep, I agree.
There's just, I mean, there's so many, and self-esteem, I know when I was younger, I was like 4'11" and 75 pounds. So I was like 16 years
Oh
old.
my God.
I just didn't grow, and I had to really work on my confidence. And, I actually have this great book. I'll have to send it to you. It's called Self-Love, Self-Care. And it's a workbook that you do. And it just has like fun little things that you do every day just to like, learn about yourself and just like little fun visualization things. And, you can draw and put like, just different ways to learn about yourself and accept like who you are. It's just a fun little workbook that helps build self-esteem and self-confidence. But for sure, I mean, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, I totally agree. Yes, especially because I think there were, I mean, like you said, you were 4'11", 75 pounds for a while. Like for a while, I always felt like the nerdy, ugly kid. Like I remember talking about it in the press conference I did after I won Miss USA.
Yeah.
I was like the nerdy kid with like a unibrow. I never brushed my hair. It was always pulled back into a bun. And I can't say that I ever really felt confident. I think it took time and age and experience to realize I needed to stop comparing myself to others constully. And
That's
that
huge.
helped a great deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are like flooding the questions. Okay. This is always a tough question when people ask me this because like I can't say that I haven't. There are so many amazing women. But Cody Whitaker says, who is your favorite Miss USA?
Well, Chelsea Smith, of course, is my favorite Miss USA. I miss her so much. She was an incredible friend. So she's definitely my favorite Miss USA. And of course, my Miss USAs, Alyssa Campanella and Nia Sanchez are my favorite Miss USA.
Yay! So shout out to Nia if you're still on.
Yeah.
So did you and Chelsea remain close after you guys' reigns ended?
We did, yeah. She and I were really close. We were really close up into her passing as well. And she just had this incredible personality. And anybody who met her or hung out with her, she was just so witty and so funny. And I really miss that energy because she was just and I feel like she and I in pageant history are such a we were such a duo and we were so well known together. I really miss like my sidekick.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool that like I never knew that when you guys lived in LA, I can't remember who told me first that you would live, rather than living together, you would live in separate apartments.
Yeah, we had to live with a chaperone though, so you guys have it a little better. Yeah, so I had a chaperone named Ellie, and she had a chaperone. I forgot her name, but we had to live with these and I just kind of was like, can't she and I just live together, But like you guys got it so easy because you get to live together. But no, we lived in separate apartments, but with our like chaperones, and we had to leave notes like wherever we went and things like that. Yeah, I was like, I just got out of my house.
Whoever I was talking to, they were like, yeah, I used to always go upstairs and she would cook me dinner talking about, I think it was you talking about Miss Universe would cook or whatever. And I was like, so you guys didn't live together? Because it's so funny. Me and Zoe literally, if like, I'll like text Zoe from like literally the other room.
That's
and if
awesome.
she doesn't text me back, I'll just start yelling. I'll be like, hey, Zoe, do you want to check? I literally did that like 2 days ago.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I wish that she and I got to live together. It would have been so much fun. But her travel schedule was like one of the craziest travel schedules I've ever seen. Like that girl was on an airplane 24/7. Like she really traveled all over the world. And I basically just traveled within the the United States. So our schedules were pretty crazy. But
I could not fathom it. Okay, so we've got a couple more questions. I don't know how to say your username. This person, thank you for your question, says, since we haven't seen any shorter Miss Universes, do you think someone 5'2" should compete? Does height play a role?
I don't think height plays a role at all. I really don't, especially now. I just think it's so much, you know, I came from that kind of old school where it was about beauty of the face and figure, confidence, personality, poise, you know, but I don't think, you know, I think now it's just the whole package, you know, and there's no specific order, so to speak, you know, yeah. So yeah, I don't think height should be a factor in any capacity. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. And I've heard somewhere, somebody I was talking to was saying that in certain countries they do have a height requirement, which I didn't know about.
Oh, okay. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I did. I never knew that. I think it was another Miss USA who I was talking to online, and she was like, "No, certain countries do." But I don't think that it should, because I think there were, even if you look at like the top 5 picture, I remember they're like, it was like a bunch of shorter girls and like a couple of tall ones. It was like me and I'm like 5'6", Zosie's like 5'6", 5'7", and then like I think
I just remember like Olivia Culpo when she competed, you know, and all those girls were like 5'11" in heels, like 6 feet, and you know she's like 5'5" or something. 5'6". She's not super compared, especially to those ladies, you know. You know, and it was just like all these like tall girls and like Olivia, and it was like, and she won, you know.
Yeah, exactly, because it really is like the person and the presence that you bring, because a 5'11" person can walk in there like they're 4'10", and you know, a 4'10" person can walk in there.
It's all about that stage presence. Yep, it's so true.
Exactly, I agree. Okay, we're gonna do one last question.
Oh, it's 11:11. Make a wish, everybody.
Make a wish, guys. This is a cool question. Okay, so Abby Crayman says, panel interview is more intimidating and harder for me to find how to properly go about the interview. Any tips or tricks for panel interviews?
I think a big thing that I always tell girls when they're doing a panel interview is, let's say a specific judge asks you the question. I think it's important to acknowledge the judge who asked you the question, but I think it's crucial for you to include the rest of the panel. So as you're answering, you know, I kind of like to include the other judges, kind of make eye contact with them, and then sort of wrap it up back with the judge that kind of asked me the original question. So that way, you know, you're acknowledging the person who's asking the question, but you're including everybody, and you're kind of making it, you know, fun for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. What would be your advice? I remember for me, there were a couple times when I was in panels where you have like that awkward silence when like the panel judges are trying to figure out like who's going next, or like,
oh yeah.
Well, how would you go about handling that?
You know, I know for a contestant, it's sort of nerve-wracking because you're like, you know, I only have 3 minutes here. Ask me the question. You know, what do you want me to know? But that's like one of those things where like the judges are just kind of in their own world. It has nothing to do with you, and they're not judging you for them being like, oh, let me look through her bio real quick, you know. Some judges like looked at the bios and read them and highlight them, and they already have questions ready for you. And then some judges are literally like, before you walk in, they're like, oh, let me, you know, find her key points, you know. Yeah, so
yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't even get in your head about it.
Yeah, well, because it can be nerve-wracking, and I think sitting on both sides, you realize that, like, as a judge, you're just like, should I ask a question now? Is somebody else gonna go? Gotta wait for that. And then as a contestant, you're like, oh my god, I need to say something. I have to fill the time. I have to say something.
Totally.
Right. Well, so Shanna, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah,
do you have some final words of advice for, you know, just people, even non-pageant related people who are, you know, trying to get through this pandemic, trying to make adjustments to their lives and just trying to make it forward with their own families and their friends and their goals?
Sure. You know, right now, I just think everyone, you know, we're all just stressed. We're all kind of scared. I think it's really important for all of us to sort of like control these imaginary monsters that we're creating in our head, whether it's our future or finances, our work. You know, I think everyone at some point in time just kind of has to, you know, take it easy on ourselves. You know, we're human. We're all trying to get through this together. Be kind to your neighbor. Be kind to one another. You know, for me, you know, I'm taking the steps of like wearing a mask, not because it has anything politically driven in my mind. It's just I want to protect other people. You know, I just hope that people out there are a little gentler on themselves and kinder to their brothers and sisters out there. You know, so that's sort of where I'm at, and I'm so honored to have been able to join you today and catch up with you. And
same.
so exciting. And thank you so much again for having me.
Yes, thank you for being on, and thank you for just being candid about your advice for people. I think that is the most helpful for people to hear, especially as a, you know, Miss USA title holder. It's just incredible to hear from you and just to hear how you're doing, especially that you've recovered and you're getting to rejoin your family. So
yes,
thank you so much
once
for
the
being
world
on.
opens back up, I'd love to take you to dinner out here in LA. We'll get all our Miss USA sisters together and we'll have some fun.
Yes, I would definitely love that. I'm going to take you up on that.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Shayna. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye, Mama. Have a great day. Bye.